Ruto as a person who may have done or had missteps that led to this loss. Is this blame game valid?
Well, if you are the chief campaigner, I mean, at the end of every campaign, somebody has to take the blame. And in this case, here are two dynamics that make this campaign very difficult. First of all, the campaigner is a president, and the voters are presidents or heads of states and country and governments, and that makes it difficult. Even campaigning among them, it's very difficult. And I remember so that you can blame anybody, but really the results of election at the AU level or UN level, it's a very complicated thing. And Kenyans seem not to have learned from the previous attempts that they've had. We've never learned. Look at what we tried. We tried WTO. We never succeeded. We've tried the same seat, AUC chair under Amina. Went 7 rounds, and again we lost, that kind of thing. So there is something that we do not know how to do. And instead of saying, by the way, we are to blame, because we do not know how to place our people in positions. And I've said that before. And so I would say everybody in this game can be blamed. Even the teams that we put together to campaign for Raila. Surely, how much did they do? How much money did we spend? By the way, how much money did we spend? Was it the money? Was it the money that we went with, or is it that we were serious about campaigning for Raila? So you can blame a lot of people. I've seen one commentary, which of course is very sensitive, because I saw a comment that says that maybe it's good for Raila, the Kenyans saying, to come back home, because literally, they were beginning to wish for that character, that Raila, who was a human rights advocate, that Raila who would defend the weak and the poor and the oppressed. Okay. And that's what I mean. Remember, Kenyans were celebrating yesterday to welcome him back. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah.
But President Ruto, it was said that probably he stood to be the biggest beneficiary of Raila win in the AUC. Yet we're talking about his personal blunders, even in terms of diplomacy. Well, do you really think he failed that badly as president in this?
I tell you, being a new president and a new kid on the block, literally. And by the way, we must accept that there are certain diplomatic gaffes that happened. There are two things that you need to do. I've worked a lot with our international conference in the Great Lakes region, which has a lot of Francophonists. And I can tell you the truth. When you're dealing with Francophones, and then you are dealing with an Islamic group, a Muslim Islamic group in Africa, you have two issues. First of all, if your candidate does not even speak French, the French-speaking don't care about that person that much. Whatever you do, they normally vote as a bloc, but they don't necessarily like somebody who does not speak French. And particularly somebody who just speaks English, because they also don't think English is the most important language to them. That's one. And the bloc, that they also combine that with the religiosity. If there's some of them are Muslims, and the Islamic group in Africa, it's a big one. Combine that with the Arabic North and so on, becomes a very big bloc. So how do we campaign among them? Whom do we send? It's very important. Whom do you send to so and so? Who do you send to so and so? So not everybody loves our president. Because of his decisions and some of his speeches, some of his policies. The people who would say, no, this guy is anti, Muslims, or not mostly Islamic or whatever. Maybe he's pro-Israel. They will say maybe he's pro-Kagame, and so on. Those dynamics, whatever you have said or spoken, including the decision by SADC, by the way. And SADC now carries away even our own neighbors, like Tanzania. So we have issues. Now, and then finally, if we lost votes of East Africa community, then we must ask ourselves, what are we doing wrong within the East Africa community? Because the members of the East Africa community, including the DRC or Rwanda or whoever, Tanzania, whoever did not vote for us, and I don't know who, because it's a secret ballot.
Definitely someone did not vote.
But some did not vote for him. And so we have a region that is not yet cohesive. It's not one. There should have been a bloc already. Because other people watch you and say, if members of your bloc cannot give you all the votes, who are we in West Africa? Who are we in Northern Africa? Who are we in the SADC region to give you the votes? So we have to blame. But listen, I keep talking about this thing called the trust deficit in our leadership. And one of the 8 pillars of trust that I know is clarity, but also character, and finally something we call consistency. And if you want to restore any trust, and the people watch you are not consistent in what you are and what you are today, they will not give you the vote. They get scared. You scare the whole community. But finally, let me also put it this way. Although this was an AUC and Africa community election, there are international interferences and involvements. There are hands in there that are very powerful, that influence us as Africans, because we depend on aid. And so if we have offended one of these superpowers, or whatever it is, they can interfere. In many, many ways. They can interfere with our elections. So they can decide, say, this one is dangerous, or this is useful, and this guy is maybe, who gives, and there are many, many dynamics. So we did not look at all those dynamics, or if we did, we must have been taken by surprise. Right. And I didn't want to blame anybody, because if right now is not a very good time to blame Raila Odinga, because it's a very delicate moment. And people say, let's welcome him home. Let's give him the opportunity to recuperate from this, because one has to recover. It's not a very easy thing. The amount of time and the amount of resources used to get to this point was massive. In fact, Kenyans paid quite a bill to get to where we were. And so the loss is not just about losing the seat.
It is our loss too as Kenyans.
It's also our loss, yes.
Yes, and it's interesting that you talk about the trust deficit now